Desire or madness? The Vegetarian unravels the human psyche. The Vegetarian is a powerful and haunting novel by South Korean author Han Kang, first published in 2007 in Korea and later translated into English by Deborah Smith in 2015. The book explores themes of control, identity, the human body, and societal norms through the story of a woman's rebellion against the expectations placed upon her. It won the Man Booker International Prize in 2016 and has been widely acclaimed for its disturbing poetic prose and its exploration of psychological and social issues. Overview and plot summary. The novel is structured into 3 interconnected parts, each told from the perspective of a different character in Yeong-hye's life, as they react to her seemingly irrational decision to become vegetarian. While the premise may seem simple, it unfolds into a complex psychological examination of trauma, autonomy, and rebellion against societal control. Part 1. The Vegetarian, narrated by Yeong-hye's husband. The story begins with Yeong-hye, a seemingly unremarkable and obedient wife who suddenly decides to stop eating meat after experiencing a series of disturbing, violent dreams. Her husband, Mr. Chong, is shocked and perplexed by her decision, seeing it as an inconvenience rather than understanding her distress. He is a self-centered and unemotional man who views Yeong-hye as a passive presence meant to serve his needs. Yeong-hye's refusal to eat meat quickly escalates into a form of rebellion against societal and familial expectations. She begins to reject not only meat, but also other aspects of her life, refusing to conform to the image of a submissive, obedient wife. Her husband, and later her family, are unable to comprehend her behavior, and they become increasingly frustrated and violent. Her family's reaction culminates in a disturbing scene where they attempt to force-feed her meat, leading to a physical altercation that reveals their desire to control and dominate her. Part 2. Mongolian Mark, narrated by Yeong-hye's brother-in-law. The second part shifts perspective to Yeong-hye's brother-in-law, an artist who becomes obsessed with her. Fascinated by Yeong-hye's new ethereal persona, he develops a fixation on her body and her rejection of societal norms. His interest becomes artistic, and he projects his own desires and fantasies onto her, wanting to paint her body with flowers and film her in intimate, sensual ways. Yeong-hye, now in a state of detachment and dissociation, agrees to participate in his art project. This section explores the objectification of Yeong-hye, as her brother-in-law's obsession with her is rooted in his own desires rather than any genuine understanding or concern for her. His pursuit of art becomes an act of exploitation, using Yeong-hye's rebellion as a canvas for his own fantasies. The boundary between art and violation blurs, leading to a catastrophic outcome that impacts both Yeong-hye and her brother-in-law. Part 3. Flaming Trees, narrated by Yeong-hye's sister. The final part is told from the perspective of In-hye, Yeong-hye's sister, who tries to take care of Yeong-hye after the events in Part 2. By this point, Yeong-hye's condition has worsened, and she is hospitalized due to her refusal to eat and her growing obsession with becoming one with nature. Yeong-hye believes she is transforming into a tree, seeking a kind of purity and detachment from the human world that she finds unbearable. In-hye reflects on her own life and how she too has conformed to societal expectations, suppressing her desires and individuality in order to fulfill her role as a wife and mother. She struggles to understand Yeong-hye's choices, torn between resentment, sympathy, and a sense of helplessness. In-hye's narrative offers a poignant exploration of the pressures faced by women and how societal expectations can strip them of their autonomy and sense of self. Themes and analysis. 1. Autonomy and rebellion. The novel explores the theme of autonomy, particularly the ways in which society and family try to control and regulate women's bodies and behavior. Yeong-hye's decision to stop eating meat is not simply a dietary choice. It becomes a form of rebellion against the expectations placed upon her as a woman, wife, and daughter. Her choice symbolizes a rejection of conformity, a refusal to continue fulfilling her designated role. Number 2. The body as a site of control. Throughout the novel, Yeong-hye's body becomes a battleground. Her decision to change her diet and eventually attempt to transcend her physical form highlights how the body can be both a tool of self-expression and a means of control for others. Her husband and family react with violence and frustration when they realize they cannot control her choices, revealing how deeply societal norms are tied to the regulation of women's bodies. 3. Objectification and exploitation. The second section delves into the theme of objectification, as Yeong-hye's brother-in-law uses her as a subject for his art, projecting his desires onto her body without considering her agency or consent. His fascination with her transformation is not about understanding or supporting her, but rather about using her as a canvas for his own fantasies. This dynamic reflects how women are often reduced to objects for male desires, stripped of their autonomy and subjected to exploitation. Number 4. The search for purity and escape. Yeong-hye's desire to become vegetarian evolves into a longing to transcend her human form entirely. She seeks purity by trying to merge with nature, wanting to become a tree, a state where she believes she will be free from the violence and demands of human existence. Her transformation can be seen as both a form of spiritual quest and a manifestation of psychological trauma, as she tries to escape the constraints and abuses of the human world. Number 5. The pressure of societal expectations. Through the perspectives of Yeong-hye, her brother-in-law, and In-hye, Han Kang paints a vivid picture of the expectations placed on individuals, especially women, within society. Yeong-hye's rejection of these expectations is met with confusion, anger, and violence, highlighting the rigidity of societal roles and the consequences of defying them. In-hye's perspective, in particular, shows the toll that conforming to these roles can take, as she reflects on her own suppressed desires and how she, too, is trapped. Symbolism. 1. Meat and vegetarianism. Meat in the novel symbolizes societal violence, dominance, and control. Yeong-hye's choice to become vegetarian is her way of rejecting the brutality she perceives in human society. Her decision becomes a form of spiritual and physical purification, as she seeks to disconnect from the violence associated with consuming animals and, metaphorically, the violence embedded in human relationships. 2. Plants and transformation. Yeong-hye's transformation into a plant-like state symbolizes her desire to escape from her human identity and the expectations it carries. Trees, with their deep roots and connection to nature, represent a state of stillness, peace, and detachment from the complexities and cruelties of human life. Her desire to transform into a tree is both an attempt at finding freedom and an act of self-destruction. Style and tone. Han Kang's writing style in The Vegetarian is sparse, poetic, and deeply evocative. The prose is haunting and dreamlike, reflecting Yeong-hye's psychological state and the surreal nature of her transformation. The narrative shifts perspectives between the three parts, offering different lenses through which to view Yeong-hye's story. The tone is often cold and detached, which serves to highlight the emotional and psychological isolation experienced by the characters, particularly Yeong-hye. Impact and reception. The Vegetarian has been lauded for its daring exploration of psychological trauma, autonomy, and societal repression. It was praised for its unique narrative style and its unsettling, thought-provoking themes. Winning the Man Booker International Prize in 2016 brought international attention to Han Kang and contemporary South Korean literature. However, the book has also sparked debates, especially regarding its translation by Deborah Smith, with some critics arguing that certain nuances of the original Korean text were altered or lost. Conclusion. The Vegetarian is a powerful and unsettling novel that delves into the complexities of autonomy, societal control, and the psychological toll of defying social norms. Han Kang's poetic and haunting prose, combined with the book's intense and disturbing themes, creates a work that challenges readers to confront the boundaries of identity, freedom, and the human body. It is a thought-provoking exploration of rebellion, purity, and the search for escape in a world that often seeks to confine and control. 1-minute recap.